When comes the profile? I am ready for Stranae. Been building up deck profile. Can't wait to see what you do when Stranae drops. Deck profile. Looking forward to the list.
It's time. We're gonna make this deck profile today. It's gonna be lit. We are back here with the August edition of rikkafairy, a competitive build made by yours truly, AkemiTCG. We are back. Today's mascot is going to be Aerith. If you want these field centers like this or custom tokens, the link will be in the description for how to order these. As a disclaimer, before I start this video, before I get roasted in the comments, there is so many ways to play this deck. You have to understand there's so many interpretations you can play this deck. You can play combo, you can play control. One deck may not be necessarily better than the other, but use this list, if you're looking at this list, use it as kind of like a baseline for how you kind of want to play Rikkas. You want to see combos, they're in the iCard down below or above, wherever it's going to be. So let's get to it. For the monsters, we're going to start off with your girl Yugioh Rikka. We are playing one now just because she is going to be essential in making the Stranae live, because she is a level 4, and also she drops your Mudon and your Erica by 2 levels. If you watch the combo video, I utilized a combo with Mudon and Erica, dropping them both to level 4 and then using Yugioh to pop off with it. And with Mudon, you can search Rikka Sheet, and if you use Yugioh's effect to pitch yourself to send or make 2 of your Rikkas 2 levels lower, then during the end phase, I know it's not the best effect, but she comes back onto the field. So you can use her as a tribute fodder for Rikka Sheet or Rikka Tranquility or whatever card you really need, really. We're playing 3 Rikka Petals. This is arguably the best card in the whole entire deck. I can't think of any card that's better than Rikka Petal, like definitely better than Snowdrop. She is your Stratos. She also is a Foolish Burial, and she comes back, and she's a level 1, and she's a water plant. Like, what more can you ask for in this kind of deck? So we have Erica, the Rikkafairy. I'll still only play 1. She is niche. She is an honest Neos, but the second effect comes off sometimes often. I sometimes see myself searching for her, but a lot of games I can win without her. So that's why I only play 1. Playing 3 Mudon. She's arguably the second best Rikka because she gets you the spells and traps that you need to play. If you're missing a petal, you get a petal. If you need some defense, you get Rikka Sheet. If you need to ensure you have a turn, the turn after, you get Rikka Tranquility. You have a lot of options here, especially, for example, against the Altageist matchup. They have trouble getting over, big defense. We have 2400 defense. We have Snowdrop with 2800 defense and Teardrop with 2800 defense. So that could be a problem for them. So sometimes you want to grab Tranquility instead. So Mudon is basically your toolbox. And plus, she can special summon in attack mode, which is really nice, because a lot of the Rikka fairies, they can only special summon in defense. For example, Primula, and Tranquility makes you summon yourself in defense anyways. Next, you're going to have 2 copies of Primula. I like her a lot. If a plant is tributed, you can special summon her from the hand for practically free, and she can also up your plants by 2 levels. So for some reason, you have Mudon and Erica. It's like the inverse combo of Yugioh. And you have Primula on the field, then you can just pump these 2 up to level 8 and then make a Teardrop, which is really nice. I like the flexibility of the Exceed plays you can make, and the whole reason why I just like the deck in the first place is because it's really, really flexible. Even though you're locked into plants due to the first effect of Mudon and Snowdrop, you can still flex on your opponent, so to speak, by doing these other shenanigan plays. And Primula doesn't lock you into plants, which is nice. Next, we are playing just 2 Snowdrop. We are not playing 3 anymore. Why? AkemiTCG. Why are you not playing 3? I'm going to get bashed for this, but hear me out. With Stranae, you're able to get a 3rd or essentially any extra copies of Snowdrop if you want. If you want to grab the Snowdrop back, you can. If you want to recur your Teardrop in the graveyard, you can, because it lets you Exceed summon, or rather, special summon an Exceed monster rank 5 or higher from your extra deck or the graveyard. So you have multiple choices here, because Stranae is like pretty busted for the deck itself. So that's why you really only need 2, because Stranae is going to do more of the work for you, and most of the time with Strana anyways, you're going to grab Snowdrop. So it just works out. And I realized running this at 3, I drew it way too often, which I didn't like too much. I don't mind drawing to Petal or Mudon, but Snowdrop kind of came up a little bit too often, and I kind of didn't like that. I may bump this up to 3, but with further testing, I just have to see. The Aromages package, we are still playing 1 Angelica and 1 Laurel, just because the combos I show you on the previous combo video that I made, Laurel and Angelica, you only need to play 1 of each to fully utilize their effects. With multiple Laurels, it can be dead in the hand because your life points isn't always going to be higher, so I'd rather search for it with Jasmine when I get the opportunity to, rather than always hard drawing into it or potentially hard drawing into it when I don't need it. And you want to minimize as many dead cards as possible, considering that I play multiple engines that have Garnets in this deck. And next card is going to be a fan favorite. We are playing 2 copies of Ash Blossom in Joyous Spring. This deck does have trouble against a lot of combo decks. In particular, Dinos is a very, very, very bad matchup, and people in my locals tend to play Dinos, so that's why I'm playing 2 Ash, just to be able to hit their miscellaneous swords that activates in the banish pile to hopefully stop something from happening. But this is kind of like my out to it. And also, as a heads up, this is a going second build, because you're going to see the cards that I'm playing. You're like, why are you playing this? Next, Triple Evil Thorn. This card is simply astounding as a card. I like it a lot because literally sack it, it tributes first, so Primula can activate in hand if you have Primula in hand off of 1 Evil Thorn, which is super nice. And this one card gets you a free Verte, which is cool too, or any free rank 2 that you have in your extra deck, and you're not locked into anything. The only problem is there are a lot of times where I draw into multiple Evil Thorns and it does suck. There's actually one game where I drew into triple Evil Thorn, but that's just kind of part of the game. And if this deck didn't have bricks, then it'd definitely be tier 0, but it's Rogue, alas. We have 3 Lone Fire Blossom. I don't need to explain this card. This card is good. We're just gonna put it here. Attribute yourself, get a plant from the deck. Literally your whole entire toolbox. I really hope they never hit this card in the US. Please Konami, don't hit it. 1 Rose Girl. I only play 1. It's good because it always recurs itself. Like in the combos, it always recurs itself. And also, really fun fact, if it's in your hand, right? Because let's say you summon it, Snowdrop, Rose Girl, and you go Teardrop, and you use Rose Girl to recur from the graveyard because you have a Teardrop on the field. Then on your opponent's turn, let's say they kill your Teardrop somehow, right? Let's say like they run it over by battle, or even if they tribute it with the Kaiju, because it just says if a plant monster is sent to the graveyard, just sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter which way, shape, or form, you can special summon this from your hand. So it gives you a little bit of extra protection just in case you need it, and it's also a tuner, so it does come up. 1 Spore, the best boy, self-explanatory here, and the Elemental Hero Neos and Rainbow Dragon package. This deck still has a big problem of breaking boards, and that's hence the reason why I run the Rainbow Neos package. Very big problem here. And then still the 1 Har and the 2 Mardell, or rather 1 Har, 1 Mardell, because we were playing the Generator package. Even if you weren't playing the Generator package, I highly recommend picking up a copy of Mardell, so it literally lets you fish for any of these plants, which is super nice on summon. And also lets you make True King of Calamities. If you summon this, let's say like off of Tranquility, then you can make Calamities on the next turn, which is really nice. And Har is there because it's an Omni Negate, and also it kind of traps your opponent into pitching a monster whenever they search, which is nice too. That is it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells. If you're liking this new kind of like deck profile format that I'm doing, please make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'm continuously trying to up the quality for all of you. I'm going to maximize it as much as I can because I want you guys to watch high quality Yu-Gi-Oh content, and I'll do anything in my power to make that happen. So next we have the spells. We're going to work off with, there's not too many spells in this deck, unfortunately. So we do have 1 Generator Boss Stage. This is going to be basically your bread and butter play. When you grab Mardell, you can choose to grab Generator Boss Stage, and that lets you summon Har on the next turn, which is super nice. And if you put your Teardrop in the extra monster zone right here, then you can get maximum value and get 4 tokens off of that. And for an unsuspecting opponent that has no idea what the Generator package does, seeing that your field just got populated with basically 6 monsters off of 1 card is actually terrifying. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to do something, to make something happen. And sometimes if your opponent's unaware, they have to like... The thing is, if you're playing against this deck, this is actually not a big deal in this deck because I only play 1 Hard. You could play multiple, up to you, but it's more Garnets. But a lot of people will be baited into getting rid of this card thinking it'll do something, but in reality, you only use it once, and that's it. You just use it once, get the horror one time for that one negate, and then next couple turns attempt to push for game. That's basically the playstyle I play with, the reason why I play Generator Boss Stage. And on top of that, Neos Fusion. Neos Fusion is super free. I like this more than Red Eyes Fusion because Red Eyes Fusion, when we're getting Dragoon or Red Eyes Dark Dragon, we're getting in that in 2 weeks or 1 or 2 weeks from now. And if you hard draw into Red Eyes Fusion, then that's the only play you make. You just activate Red Eyes Fusion and that's it. But with Neos Fusion, you can do your whole play, and as long as you're not locked into plants, you can actually play this from your hand, and also obviously you Verte. And for a lot of people that don't know this, this protects your Rainbow Neos from dying. Like one time, you can just banish it from the graveyard, protects it from dying, doesn't activate, it's a continuous effect, so it's super neat. People don't see this coming, and Rainbow Neos is a big 4500 booty with amazing effects. So that's why I play Neos Fusion. 1 for all the level 1s there. Please bring this card up to 2 in the US, please. OCG has it at 2. Give it to us, guys. Give it to us. In the last 3, we were playing 3 copies of Rikka Glamour. This card lets you search or lets you double search if you tribute. So now the double search is more in handy now because Stranae is in the game. So we can use Rikka Glamour, sack Stranae, search for 2. So I usually search for both Erica and Mudan, and it just depends on the situation, right? Both Erica and Mudan, and then Stranae is going to activate, and you can summon Teardrop for practically free, which is super nice. Something to think about. And you're probably wondering, why am I not running Hellbore? So Hellbore, the rikkafairy, the level 8, was a little bit too bricky for me. I realized I always sided it out, and its second effect seldom came in handy. It came in handy like maybe once or twice, but because I didn't use it that often, I just opted to take it out, and I'd rather run cards like Ash to be able to stop my opponent from doing stuff. On to the traps. We're going to start off with 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Why am I maining this? Akemi, what are you doing? This card is the out to literally so many decks in this format. It's unbelievably good. Like, a lot of people will make boards, and sometimes the weaker boards without any Omni Negates, or if you bait out the Omni Negates, Evenly Matched is the freest card in the format. There's not much to say about it. Almost every time I resolve Evenly Matched, I've won my game. That's really how good this is, and it deals with the problem of this deck has a lot of trouble breaking boards, because this deck, again, this isn't meta. This is rogue, so to speak. So trying to make a competitive road deck, you have to play competitive options to maximize its potential. And with competitive options, we are playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Best hand trap can't be called by the grave. They have to red reboot it or something. So you can almost guarantee that if you play Infinite Impermanence and they don't have like miscellaneous swords or something, then you're good to go, which is nice. Or Forbidden Lance. I mean, some people still play that too. Rikka Tranquility. 1 copy of Rikka Tranquility. This card is the Call of the Haunted. Not much to say about that. And 1 copy of Rikka Sheet. Sometimes people can play it too. If I was playing a control build, I would definitely pick up 2 of these instead, because it is searchable, and it's nice that your opponent can't even activate the effects. So even if they can't even activate the effect, that means they can't even pay for cost, because paying for cost is attempting to activate an effect. Now on to the extra deck. We have 2 copies of Aromages Jasmine. This card is simply amazing. I run 2 just because it does come up where the second effect is if you gain life points, add 1 plant monster from your deck to your hand. That's a soft once per turn. So if they somehow, let's say like they Valor your first one, and you somehow like summon like Laurel or something, and then you go into a second one, your Laurel will activate in the graveyard. You're going to gain 500 life points, and then your second Jasmine's effect will activate. You can add another plant from deck to your hand, which is super nice. So some food for thought, and it has come up quite often where I summon 2 of these actually. So I play this at 2. 1 copy of Verte Anaconda. If you're wondering what this is, it's just the sleeve. I got this from eBay a long time ago, but I have no idea where to get it now. The seller's long gone. Just a heads up. So Verte for Neos Fusion. And on top of that, with Rainbow Neos, of course, your boy Rainbow Neos. I'm gonna put this over here. Next, you have a copy of Rosemary. This is pretty much the only synchro I play left. I feel like this one comes up the most because you can use Angelica and have it be like a on proc effect filler, which is super nice. And the 500 buff does come in handy. It makes your guys pretty beefy, and you can get gamed really fast with Rosemary, especially if you're playing Neos. One I'll say, this card is spectacular, and the deck lets you shuffle, or not rather, lets you mill one, and then You can target one card on the field, put it to the top or the bottom of its owner's deck. If you lock your opponent out and you grind out your opponent and then you summon Alsay and they're in a mood where they're just setting one card and passing, then you summon Alsay, put that set card, spin it back to the top, and they pretty much can't do anything because they're out of options. So you can lock your opponent out with Alsay, Dingirsu, because you know there's going to be cards where it can't be targeted, can't do X, Y, and Z, so Dingirsu is the answer. In Gunnar, this is the field wipe, returns all cards from the field besides itself back to its owner's hand, and it cannot be responded to. So on summon, they have to Valor it or Impermanent. If they don't do one of those two things, they're done for. That's it. So I've won games with that card before, and it's a rank 6, but it needs 3 materials, just a heads up. So you can't summon it off of Strene, unfortunately. 1 Kanzashi, or you can summon it off of Strene, but like you won't be able to get the effect because you have to detach 2. 1 Kanzashi, I never see myself summoning 2. I actually seldom summon this, but it depends on how you're going for game. If you're going for game in more aggressive ways, then you summon Kanzashi, or sometimes if they have a really big monster in their graveyard, you can take it, attack with it, and then use it as fodder for Rikka Sheet or Rikka Trinkoti because it becomes a plant. And this also protects your stuff too, which is nice. A lot of people forget that. Aurea, this card is so much better now that we have Strenna, because Strenna can tutor into literally Aurea, Kanzashi, Alsay, or even Teardrop. So Aurea is basically the Dragite for the deck. You look, or you pitch a card. You can pitch a plant from your hand or field to the graveyard. Excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the level of the card that you pitched, and then you can rearrange those cards in any order. Then detach 1, you can mill 3 or up to 3, and then return up to that many cards on the field to the hand. So it doesn't even have to be an opponent's cards, which is super nice. So it's a Dragite basically for 3 cards, and we have Rikka, Queen, Strenna. She is here. We were playing 2 because we were playing 1 Sickleman, 2 Primula, so we gotta play 2. This is the best card of this deck. I do have a video that I made a few days ago about the combos, so you can take a look with that card. We're still playing 1 copy of Princess Sprite. You can revive your Alsay with this. It has come up, Alsay or Aurea, but because of Rikka, Queen, Strenna, I expect it to come up a lot more often. It also lets you mill 1, and if it's a spell card, I believe, as a spell or trap card, you can add it to your hand, which is super nice. It's kind of free. 2 copies of Teardrop, the best waifu, she's sick, and then 1 copy of True King of all calamities. And that's it for the extra deck. And the True King, basically you summon it with Maudel and Snowdrop, but not on turn 1. I can't think of a way you'd be able to summon that turn 1 because you're locked into plants. Unless you play copy plant, obviously. Now, if you are enjoying the video and you represent Rikkas and you like Rikkas, then feel free to get your Rikka Gang, Umbrella Gang merch in the description down below. I'm going to show you guys what these shirts look like. They came out super fuego. The quality of the shirts is super high. Order your shirts now if you like. And all the proceeds will go back to supporting the channel. Now we are on the sideboard. Our first card we're going to side is 3 Ghost Ogre. Numeron is running around rampant. This will change according to the meta. Just a heads up, sideboards change according to the meta calls, and also some cards in the main deck too. Ghost Ogre is just really good against Numeron Network, and surprisingly also really good against this deck. Unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But remember, this card can also resolve on the field and on the graveyard. So if you set it, they attack, they can't get over it, then it can still resolve on the field, which is nice. It's also a level 3 tuner, which could come in handy. I'm trying to think of what you could do. I mean, like level 3 and then Laurel and I guess Petal. That could work. 3 Nibiru. This card's self-explanatory. It's just a really good card. Less combo decks are running rampant, so if we ever fully switch to control, I may swap it, but as of now, for like pretty much every deck, Nibiru is a staple because some of these boards get too oppressive that you will literally lose if it happens. Next, we are playing Dark Ruler No More and 2 droplets. I would play a 3rd droplet just because I just don't have the 3rd one, but also because you want to be able to resolve your cards in the graveyard. Especially if you're playing different variants of this deck, you can play Axis, where you can pitch your, let's say, World Carrot Weight Champion, and you get some value off of that. And Droplet just works really well in this deck, especially since you can set it. It's a quick play, so if they activate an effect that you're terrified of, let's say they have the overwrap, they have the miss in hand, then you chain droplet and GG. Like they can't do anything. So just some food for thought, guys. And obviously the Dark Wheel no more. 3 copies of Lightning Storm. I've won games with this card, obviously, just because you're playing against Altergeist or any kind of really heavy control deck and they don't have a Solemn Judgment. Sometimes they'll just set 3 and not have a Solemn Judgment and you can Lightning Storm them and then just plow your way through victory. As a heads up, there is budget options in the description down below, because I understand this deck is not budget. And last but not least, we have the 3 copies of Mystic Mine. This card will win you the game, especially with Rikkas, because you slowly push your way out to victory. But again, I'd like to really strongly emphasize that this deck has a lot of trouble with combo because it is not meta. We are playing a non-meta rogue deck, so just a super heads up, and that's why we have to play cards like this. I know I'm gonna get slammed for this, but look, if it wins games, play lame, win game, alright? That's how it works. Anyways, that is it for the deck profile. Let me just put all the cards back together. And there it is. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed the deck profile. I will be uploading different variants again of this deck online soon on the YouTube. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
The world ends now.